The championship winners, the dynamite on your roster. We're talking sleeper receivers.
Perfect.
As a lot of you, including myself, participate in PPR formats, points per reception for the uninformed, in your fantasy football leagues, I wanted to break down some of the absolute dynamite, the absolute gold that you're going to be able to find throughout this year's upcoming fantasy football season. So let's break things down 5 through 1, get it started. First wide receiver up, I've got Courtland Sutton of the Denver Broncos, a former Pro Bowler with a 1,000-yard season under his belt, is going to be teamed up with Russell Wilson. And what I love about what Courtland Sutton brings into this offense is a bigger body wide receiver that can outmuscle defensive backs for those high point balls, very similarly to what DK Metcalf was for Russell Wilson in Seattle. I think Courtland Sutton, obviously maybe not quite the player DK Metcalf is. DK though and Courtland Sutton both are 6'4" frames, over 210 pounds. DK respectively around 235. So he's got about 20 pounds on Courtland Sutton. However, I will not be surprised if we see a lot of really big plays out of Courtland Sutton this upcoming season. With a possible suspension in the air for Jerry Jeudy due to some off-the-field issues this past offseason, Courtland Sutton very easily is going to be the wide receiver 1 heading into week 1 of this upcoming fantasy football season. And with the loss of Tim Patrick due to an ACL early this offseason in practice, Courtland Sutton is not going to have to look very far for his share of targets. I think Courtland Sutton, at least very early on this season, could be dynamite, could be fantasy gold for your roster. Number 4, it's going to be Mike Williams for the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, opposite of Keenan Allen last year, over 1,100 yards, 9 touchdowns, and over 70 receptions, if I'm not mistaken. Mike Williams, when he's on the field, obviously he's had some injury issues though, Mike Williams is an absolutely monster receiving option for you throughout the entire season, to be completely honest with you. Very reliable option on the outside. Keenan Allen absolutely just gravitates defensive backs his way because of his ability to get open very easily. But Mike Williams is, again, another 50-50 ball guy that is a down-the-field threat, one of the better deep options within this Chargers offense. Obviously, playing very well off of Keenan Allen in a high-octane passing attack with the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Mike Williams is another guy you can absolutely start this upcoming season. And maybe if you have a lot of wide receiver depth, maybe take the reach and snag him a little bit earlier and put him on your bench for those key clutch situations where you have a string of bye weeks. I think Mike Williams is going to be a very reliable threat for the Los Angeles Chargers this upcoming season. He feels kind of like a sleeper, and I think he deserves to be on your roster. Next up, it's going to be Michael Pittman for the Indianapolis Colts. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 for Frank Reich's offense, along with new quarterback into the system, former NFL MVP Matt Ryan, who is very efficient, has led the NFL in completions since 2012, being the number 1 wide receiver in this Indianapolis Colts offense. This year, I think Michael Pittman is absolutely being slept on, even coming off of a very strong season last year with 70-plus catches, over 1,100 yards if I'm not mistaken, and a bevy of touchdowns as well with Carson Wentz. So Michael Pittman this upcoming season, a wide receiver 1 in a very potent offense, even with some other fantasy dynamite around the roster, i.e. a Jonathan Taylor. I think Michael Pittman could very well find themselves in a lot of starting lineups this upcoming season. I think he's very much so worth a higher value than he's being drafted at currently. Number 2, it's going to be DJ Moore out of the Carolina Panthers. DJ Moore has been one of the more solid wide receivers during his entire career, to be completely honest with you. Over the last 3 seasons, over 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns. In each of those seasons, he's provided consistency. He's stayed on the field. He's been a very healthy and reliable option and is easily the number 1 wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. He's going to see quite a bit of tread this upcoming season. They're going to be focusing their passing attack around DJ Moore, give him a very nice solid extension as well, very much so deserved. But looking at the quarterback talent that he's had to play with those last 3 seasons, still putting up those numbers, being paired up with Baker Mayfield, who's seeing a second chance in the Carolina Panthers offense. I think Baker Mayfield is massively underrated personally. I don't think he's necessarily a top 10 quarterback, but I do think Baker Mayfield deserves to be a starter in this league. I think he and DJ Moore are going to put up some absolutely terrific numbers this upcoming season, and that value in Carolina has absolutely risen with the addition of Baker Mayfield, as guys like Christian McCaffrey went from being about a number 10 overall pick to now being taken in the top 3. And the last receiver on this list is going to be Allen Robinson of the Los Angeles Rams. Allen Robinson brings to this Los Angeles Rams a very similar fit that Robert Woods gave this roster just last season. And Robert Woods, as a guy who had him on his roster pre-ACL, was incredibly reliable for fantasy owners last season, especially in PPR formats, still bringing in anywhere between 7 to 10 catches a game, close to 100 yards, and even multiple touchdowns in some instances. So Allen Robinson is going to be coming in absolutely healthy and playing with the best quarterback of his career with Matthew Stafford, playing opposite of one of the best wide receivers in the entire NFL in Cooper Kupp, a natural number 2 in this offense, but is going to be an absolutely reliable fantasy football option this upcoming season. And also, Van Jefferson going to be coming off of a surgery as well. Allen Robinson is going to be absolutely gold for your fantasy lineups this upcoming season. He's a guy that I really like this year. I talked about him a couple of other times in other videos as well, but I'm risking missing out on him in my own fantasy football league to give you that inside information. I love Allen Robinson this upcoming season. I think he's going to be in store for a huge year, and he should very well be on your roster. So thank you so much for watching the video. A short one this week. We are still creeping closer and closer to the beginning of the NFL season, and I'm gonna have some more fantasy football content for you throughout this entire month of August. So thank you so much for watching the video. Of course, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, and of course get the bell on to know every single time I'm dropping a video. My name is Tristan Blake Rines. I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Adios.